Hi, everybody. If you saw my book chat that I did a while back about the book called The Guild of St. Cooper by Shia Scanlon, there is the cover of it. Um, in the book chat that I did about this book when I finished it, I talked about Twin Peaks, the television show Twin Peaks, because this book was heavily, obviously took a lot of inspiration from Twin Peaks and David Lynch in general. And I had actually never seen Twin Peaks. I'm old enough to have been around when Twin Peaks came out originally in 1990, but I did not watch it at the time and have never really watched it since. So it was sort of like, this confluence of events brought this book, The Guild of St. Cooper, to me to read. I had put it on my TBR a while back, as I explained in the book chat I did on it. But it came time to read the book because I put it on my list for this year. And as it happened, I also came across at the same time a video on a video essay on the work of David Lynch on YouTube, and the name of that video is called "David Lynch: The Elusive Subconscious," and it was posted to YouTube on a channel called Channel Criswell, which I subscribe to, and so I watched that video on that video essay on the work of David Lynch, and then that really helped me when reading the book The Guild of St. Cooper, because the Guild of St. Cooper, as I mentioned, is very heavily influenced by the show Twin Peaks, because actually St. Cooper in the title is refers to the main character of Twin Peaks, the FBI investigator Dale Cooper, who also figures as a main character in that book. I did see that Twin Peaks, was on YouTube, so I decided, why not watch it now? And so, I'm really glad I did. This graphic is from, this has got a glare on it, a horrible glare, as a matter of fact. So sorry about that. But anyway, this graphic, I chose this one. This is actually the scene with the sign, Twin Peaks sign, is actually in the intro of the show, and this title graphic is the title graphic for the show. Although the juxtaposition of that title graphic, I don't think it occurs over the sign. I think it's over, the sawmill. But I wanted to use that because that Twin Peaks graphic, it reminded me so much of Stranger Things, the Netflix show Stranger Things, which came out, a few months ago, and I also did a video on, which was this homage to the '80s, and had a very, very similar title. Similar graphic to its title, so I thought that was kind of cool. So Twin Peaks actually came out, like I said, in 1990. It was, I read up on it a little bit. It was wildly popular at the time, but it didn't really last that long. It went through really 2 seasons, and so I've watched all of it now, all of the seasons. On Netflix, all the episodes on Netflix, and it was just really well done. So I wanted to do a brief chat about it. I'm not going to give a lot of the plot away, and I don't even really want to talk a lot about the characters, because I feel like the characters are so cool, and I think part of the fun for me watching it was actually being really, really ignorant of it. So I didn't know much about it. I mean, I remember when it was on, and so because it was popular, like I said, so I kind of knew the basic gist, but I didn't know all the cast of characters, but what the story ultimately is about is starts out is a small kind of logging town in the state of Washington, and there is a murder of a young woman, Laura Palmer, and then an FBI agent, Dale Cooper, as I mentioned, comes into the town to investigate that. And so that sort of sets the stage then for the story as it unfolds then in the rest of the series. I will say though, that the to me the eventually the killer of what happened to Laura is actually revealed kind of partway through season 2, and the show really didn't work for me as well after that point. But that first season and until partway through that second season, and even the rest of it, just was really, really, really well done. So I just want to chat a bit about some of what I took away from it, without giving really anything much away, because like I said, it's really well worth the time to watch it now. If you're too young, or you didn't watch it originally like me, or you're too young to have been around in 1990 to see it firsthand, then now is the time to actually start watching it, because you know what, it ages really, really well. That's the first point I wanted to make, is that watching that show, it could have been sort of like Stranger Things, which Stranger Things is a show that's current, was recently made, but is set back in the 80s. But the setting is so well done back in the 1980s, the production's so well done that actually it really does have this kind of 80s feel. And so Twin Peaks is actually made in 1990, and even though it has that feel, it feels like it could have just been made. And I really think that speaks to David Lynch's production values, and also the way that he makes his films. So this was, if you watch that, and I'll put the link to the YouTube video, The Elusive Subconscious, that video essay about David Lynch, because one of the points that video makes about David Lynch's style is that there is an ambiguous sort of setting. Like, it seems like it's one time, but there are elements of other eras in it as well, and that was true for Twin Peaks, where it's really set in 1990, but sometimes it feels there's elements. There's like a diner, so it's kind of got a retro feel, like maybe the 50s. One of the characters like dances to swing music, maybe like from the 40s. So anyway, I just don't want anyone who hasn't seen it to think, 1990, it's too out of date or whatever. It actually is not. It feels very, very current. It felt very, very current to me watching it. I never really got the idea that I was watching something really dated. Granted, there's no computers really, and there's no cell phones, etc. They're still using payphones and whatnot, but it felt like a current production set, in the past. So, anyway, on to other aspects of it. So, another really cool aspect that I talked about in the book chat about the Guild of St. Cooper, and also that is mentioned in this video essay about the filmmaking techniques of David Lynch, is this idea of duality and duplicates and reflection. Reflecting off of one thing, reflecting off of another, and that's, in the Twin Peaks, the very, very, very first scene is the character played by Joan Chen looking into a mirror, so you get a reflection. And then a lot of the townspeople, this character Laura Palmer is killed at the very beginning. We find out she has been killed, and the town reacts to that, and as they react to that, they're reflecting off of Laura. Themselves, their own idea of Laura, their own narrative construction that they made of themselves about Laura. And then, Agent Cooper and the police chief, whose name is actually Harry S. Truman, which is really cool. Sheriff Truman, or Chief Truman, they uncover a different story of Laura. And everyone has a different take of of Laura, and they're reflecting off of each other. And then there's this idea we also see very scattered throughout the series, actually, dualities, dualities of, Laura's got a duality. Eventually her cousin comes to her funeral, and it's almost like a reflection of Laura. That's where there's a duality. That's actually a duplicate there. Interacting. So, what the viewer's left to do is actually observe this and then try to piece together the narrative of exactly, who Laura was, because we don't know her in real time. We only know her by reflection. So we only know her by how the other characters, the other people in the town, reflect off of her. So it was just very, very, very cool. So, I don't, like I said, want to give away a lot of the other eccentric characters. David Lynch is known for having, characters that speak in certain ways, in very distinctive ways, and we have characters like that. Then there's characters who, are, just slightly maybe eccentric, I guess is the best way to put it, sort of beside normality, but are functioning normally in this environment. So characters who I hope that made sense. I think that might have made sense. So characters, they're outside of what maybe the viewer would perceive as like normal, and so the viewer can see them as being outside of that normality. But in the town and in the way the other characters interact with them, they don't react in the same way that maybe the viewer does. The town or the other characters, interact with that abnormality, with that sort of not quite normal as normal. So it's another kind of duality, and it's just a great experience overall. When all is said and done, I have heard that there is a remake, not a remake, but let's see, I don't know if it's Netflix or Showtime or some sort of company is in the process of doing a Twin Peaks, another Twin Peaks. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to be entailed with that. I haven't read much about it, but I hope that they really stick to these principles that David Lynch used back in 1990. So I think I'll stop with that. I just wanted to do a quick chat about it, just to share that I had seen it, and to encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to check it out on Netflix or wherever you can find it, and hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So until next time, see you soon. Bye.